United States education is your gateway
to a great American campus experience,
to pursue your passions,
to navigate cultural differences,
to gain real-world experiences,
to learn skills for a changing job market,
to thrive in your career,
to give back to your community and to the world,
to be the kind of person that you wouldn't have dreamed to be otherwise.
Come study in the United States.
Okay, hello everyone, good evening. Thank you very much for joining Education USA Virtual today. We are very happy to introduce our second edition of pre-departure orientation session, but this time it's even more exciting because I have three amazing guests who are Education USA alumni and who are currently students or prospective students at American universities. So I'm very happy to introduce Aslanbek, Tamar, and Aram, who study at, Aslanbek studies at Northwestern, Tamar will study at MIT. She's a freshman, prospective freshman at MIT, and Aram is a rising sophomore at Harvard University. So all three of them will share today their experience about moving to the US, about their first day in college, about things they have experienced, that were new to that. So stay, we'll be very happy to respond to all of them, and let them start. Hi guys, how are you doing today?
Doing great, how are you?
Awesome. So I know it's early morning for most of you. It's evening for us, but we are very happy that you could join us, and we're very excited to learn from you guys. So to be short, let's just start. We will start with the first, and I think one of the most concerning questions, which concerns every prospective student. For instance, our students got their invitations to US universities. They're working on their documents, and the first step they have to they have to complete will be the visa application, right? This is very exciting, but both in positive and negative ways, because this actually decides their future. So I would ask you guys about your interview. How did you prepare for your interview soon? We will be very happy to learn from you.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Miss Anisa. I am Tamar, and I just had my visa interviews this month, and I can share with you from my fresh perspective. After you submit this 160 form, then you can book an interview. However, when you try to find dates and you see that all of the dates are already booked, do not panic or do not think that these are all available dates. First of all, these dates refresh every day, which means even if currently there is nothing fit for you, I would recommend to check it every day. And for me, I managed to book interview 1 month earlier than I did originally. So that would be my first advice. During the interview, I was at first very nervous because I was standing in a line, and I actually saw a lot of people that got their interview rejected, and I was so worried for my interview. But when I went there, first of all, interviews are individual, and so as I already know information about you, do not expect them to ask you everything. In fact, they asked me really low amount of questions. For my friends, maybe this experience was a little bit different. I received some weird questions, but don't get confused. And I would describe it that it was pretty easy. They only asked me about my university, which university I got into, how many universities I applied to, and if I got financial aid, and that was it. So they didn't even ask me for all the documents that I had bought with myself. I would also recommend that you recheck that you have to be 100% sure that every document that is required you bring with yourself. However, do not expect all the documents to be actually checked. For me, they didn't check any documents, so it didn't took much time, but still, make sure that you have all the documents and your picture ready. that would be my advice. And I got my visa on June 15th. I got it. It was ready in 3 days, but I was able to get my passport back in 1 to 2 weeks. If you have any questions, you can ask
Okay.
me.
So, I mean, in your case, as you say, interview was very short, which is true for usually for most of applicants, right? Interviews last 5, maybe even last minutes, right? So, as you said, they asked you about the financial aid, university choice, and what was the last question they asked you?
They asked me how many universities I applied to,
Oh, okay,
where I got
interesting
in,
question.
and
Uh,
if I got financial aid, and they didn't even ask me for documents that indicated my financial aid and etc. It was
did
just
you
yes and no
show them
question.
your I-20 document? Did they check your I-20
Can you
document?
repeat? No, as I remember.
Oh, even you. Uh-huh.
Oh, they may have. Actually, they did check it. Yes, they did. I think they did check it.
Okay, good. Yeah, because they should check. I mean, I-20 is your most important document,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And
I
usually,
am so
because in
sorry.
I-20 it was indicated that you got financial aid. No, it's fine. I mean, I'm just saying that you are absolutely right that for all students, the experience is very different. And in terms of timing as well, right? So
Yeah.
if we talk about the timing, you will start your education, the classes will start probably at the end of or the middle of the August. When did you apply for the visa interview? Like how much time before?
For visa, first of all, my advice will be that you have to check your passport expiration dates. My friend had a problem with it, so in January, I think I already got new passport because my passport was expiring. But for visa preparation, first you cannot do anything before your university sends you a form which you have to check to request I-20 form. And whenever the exact day that I received this form, I already started filling it out. In 2 days, I was able to submit this form, and in 3 days they gave me I-20 form. I think they took 3 days because it was a Saturday and Sunday coming. Because in my friend's case, they got it in the same day, so I don't think that process takes a lot of time. However, I still recommend that you fill out everything that you receive on the same day or in near days, just in case, to be sure. And after I received I-20, I filled out this 160 form and I registered for the interview. And even though I think I was registering in May.
Okay.
Wait a second. Yeah, I think it is May. Interview dates were already full and it was already booked. And the soonest date I could choose was, I think, July 22nd. However, I rechecked it every day, and so I was able to book it sooner, way sooner. And they add new dates each day. For example, I had a friend that saw that there was, in fact, no days left before departure. And so, yeah, after a few days, she was able to book sooner.
Okay. I have a question, Tamar. So with DS 160, did you fill it yourself, or you think you need to ask for advice and or ask someone to help to fill it, or you can absolutely fill it yourself?
In my case, mostly I filled it out myself because my parents don't know English that well. However, I have many friends that already study in USA, and if I had any questions, I contacted them first. And also, MIT sent guidelines about how to fill out this form. So I had all the information that I needed from MIT too. And it wasn't that I had no sources to begin with. So it wasn't hard to fill out myself.
Okay, good. Awesome. Thank you very much, Tamar, for such a detailed response. Aslanbek, what about you? I know the visa application was a year ago, but still, and your case was very interesting. And if you could share about it with us, what did you pay attention to? How did you fill your application? How did you book your interview? It would be very interesting to learn about it.
Yeah, of course. I was listening to everything Tamara was saying, and I was agreeing, doing like this, because everything she said is correct. My visa application was a lot smoother because I applied early decision to Northwestern, so I got my decision like very early. So my visa application started like in March, and there was no issue of like booking like there was no like time booking because it was not a lot of students were applying for visa then. So I also applied visa in the Netherlands. I am from Tajikistan, but I studied Netherlands for 2 years, and I applied to visa in there, in the U.S. embassy in Amsterdam. And the interview was like very short, 5 minutes maybe. They asked more questions about like the source of the scholarship for me. Uh, they asked for I-20, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would question where does the money come from, who's paying for my studies, and I gave the breakdown of the financial aid. This is like not a secret information, right? I also over prepared. I felt like over preparing is much better than under preparing. So I like with me in the in the embassy, I had like the pictures of my family. If they ask like about the connection to my home country, I had like the birth certificate of mine and like the passports of my parents, and I had like many things. But they only asked, as Tamar said, for I-20 and just the passport. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was very smooth. And I think if you do it pretty early, you're not, it's better to do it early because like to avoid the rush and the hustle. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that would
Mm-hmm. Okay.
just to get started
Okay.
early. And the
I think.
university also gives like all
Uh-huh.
the guidelines, so just don't worry about it. If you got into university, when the time comes, they will send out the information about I-20 and like other documents.
Okay, okay. I think what you said is very important to highlight. It's better to over prepare rather than under prepare. So you better take all the documents, like even the pictures, as Zombek mentioned, right, with yourself, just in case. Because what if they decide to ask that? If you have it right away, it will be much better. Just to clarify, guys, both of you had in-person interviews, right? Not virtual ones.
Yes.
Just in person.
Yeah, so you actually went and met the counselor in person. Okay, awesome, and that's good. I mean, we have positive outcomes for all of us, which means both Aslanbek and Tamar's visa was approved. So, which is good, and we hope that everyone who will go through that process soon will also have a positive outcome. Your visa will be approved, and you will be all set to go to the United States. So now imagine everyone, and you guys, you tell me the story. You got your visas and you actually getting ready to departure to the US, right? So which documents you have with you when you were traveling to the United States? So for instance, which documents you think it's necessary to have, where to put them in the suitcase, or maybe have some extra bag with me, have it right next to me in my pocket or something. Can you guys tell us about that?
I think I-20 is very important, like because when I arrived to the US, they asked for my I-20 and for my passport in like the immigration place. So
You mean
like
right at the
when you
border in the airport?
yeah, like right at the airport, they ask for like the I-20 and your passport, and they stamp
Uh-huh.
a document. I don't remember. It was like a long time ago already, but I definitely remember it was I-20.
Mm-hmm. I-20. Okay, okay. So, for instance, if I would put my I-20 in the suitcase, is that a good idea, or I have to have it somewhere with me? So, like maybe
I,
in my
I
pocket.
I I think it's better to have like all documents in your backpack or like hand how do you call it, hand luggage,
Hand luggage. Uh-huh.
because like your suitcase can get lost, and like you don't want your documents to get lost. So just have it in your backpack, and the documents are like pieces of paper, so it shouldn't be like much what's called space consuming.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys would like to add? Maybe Tamar, Waram.
Yes, I could add one or two. Because I'm underage, I will also be needing additional documents. For example, I will be needing birth certificate and also permission from my parents to travel.
Travel.
Um, yes, and I also
Because
think that putting
you are
documents
younger
in
than 18,
suitcase
right?
is not good. Can you repeat? So
Because you are younger, you're not 18 yet, right?
yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay. Very good point, Tamar, because it's very crucial to mention that if you are under 18, you have to first of all check your country requirements, whether you can travel outside your country without someone, guiding you. Because in some countries, it's actually even not even prohibited to leave the country without a parent, for instance. But also, to enter the US, you need to have some documents confirming that your parents agreed with that. Thank you very much for bringing that information, Tamar. That was very important. Okay. Sambik, you were older than 18 years old.
Yes,
Okay.
I was much older than 18.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. Okay. 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 Then imagine you got your visas, you arrived to the US. First day in the US, how did you guys get to your or plan to get to your university? Is it the first place you will go to? How it all happens?
I can say my expectations. I will be arriving to USA August 16th, 17th, and I already have my dorm decided. I will be living in BC. And in MIT, I don't know if it's same for other universities too. International students arrive a week earlier than national students. So I will be um, attending international orientation during that week, and I also have coordinator from my campus who will be my mentor during this orientation. So I will be expecting them to help me first day and then have this orientation. Yeah, but I don't have much information about how this orientation will be held. But I'm looking forward to it.
Mhm,
If you
okay.
can,
Yeah, I'd like to comment on
Mhm.
the question. This is an awesome question. There's a lot to talk about, and
Guys,
I'd like
maybe
to.
at the airport, or they tell you like, okay, we will meet you somewhere and we'll drive you to campus.
Yes, absolutely. The second I arrived to Boston Logan Airport, which is the local airport next to my university, there were two people who were already juniors, I believe, who met me at the airport with signs and all that stuff. So that was very exciting. So it was a pretty warm welcome, and from there on, they guided me how to take the um, T, which is the local metro. So we took the local trains to the university from the airport with some people from my university who were guiding me. And from there on, as Tamar mentioned, in my case also, we had an international orientation. So the orientation part of the university was divided into two parts. Um, so we had pre-orientation, which was the international orientation, and then afterwards, when all the students from everywhere were already on campus, we would have a more generic orientation where everybody would get to know each other. And from my personal perspective, the international orientation was much more informative and much more helpful in the sense that they helped you to set up your bank account, get a phone number. Um, you got to meet more people from maybe neighboring countries, and it was much more, I guess, convenient to be adapting to this new environment when you didn't find yourself the only person who um, has come here from another country, as other people next to you were also going through the same experience. Um, and yeah, I'd love to also show a couple of um, pictures from that day of so as to give more visual understanding of how it went.
Oh, I have a question. Did you have coordinators separately, or was this orientation in a group? For example, all international students were in one group, or were you separated based on your dorms, or maybe just groups?
There were separation in groups. So that's a great question because I was going to tell about the picture on the right side over the table. This is my group where there were people from the UK, from Japan, from Canada, from Poland, from everywhere from the world. And with these people, I got to spend the first week on campus. And there were like 14 more groups of such individuals hailing from different countries. But what was that special about this was that you were also able to um, keep in touch with these people after the orientation ended. Yeah, so it was a very warm welcome. We spent 1 week. It almost felt as if we were in a summer camp because people would not take seriously what was going on. But it was very informative, and we got to actually set ourselves ready and prepare ourselves for what was coming in the academic year. And um, on the other hand, on the left side, there's a picture of me and my roommates on the convocation day. So for the most of the universities, after the orientation, there's a convocation day, which basically means they welcome you to the university. And there's a relatively big ceremony where there the people would I guess the more administrative staff of the university would give speeches to the incoming class, and they would welcome them. So this is a picture from that ceremony right next to the biggest library on campus. And these are the people that I got to live with, and I actually met them a bit later than I arrived. So I was on campus, I was in my dorm for a couple of days. And this was right after the orientation ended. I got to meet these people and I got to spend the first year with them. And they say the first impressions and the first communications are very important in future, in future relationships. So this was a great chance as we both came in with the mindset of starting a great relationship for the upcoming academic year because we knew we were gonna be living with each other and we're gonna adapt to each other's habits. And it was great to have the time of orientation and pre-orientation so as to prepare for this meeting, and it all went smoothly, successfully. Yeah, this pretty much sets up the first days on campus. If you have any questions.
Did you
Yeah.
have teams on orientation and competitions where you, I don't know, for example, we are divided in teams based on color, and during orientation we will be participating in competitions for different prizes. Did you have this type of experience too?
Uh, we did have we had talent shows. It was more informal. I'd say we didn't have like formal competitions, or there were also, I'd say we also had the chance not to take the international orientation and go a bit more educational programs before the formal orientation. However, it was the um, up to the students. So for me personally, as an international student, I went with the international orientation as I thought it would be more helpful in adapting.
Awesome. That's an awesome experience. Aslam Bek, what about your first day? Do you remember anything special?
Yeah, of course. So I think it's like common for most of the people, but the first day I arrived, I just went straight to my dorm, and I like settled down. Right, you unpack your luggages. If your roommate is there, you meet your roommate. And the first day, there's not a lot of like programs going on, but then as international students, we're gonna have like international orientation before the actual like orientation with Americans. So and then the second day, like the international orientation starts, and there's like a lot of programming, like programming in terms of like there's agendas for, like, for example, 8 a.m. you have to be there, 9 a.m. you have to be there. And it's very packed.
Mm-hmm.
For Northwestern, international orientation was not as long as Aram and Tamar was saying. It wasn't 1 week. It was for international orientation. It was like 2 days or 3 days. But the orientation with domestic people, it is quite long. It's like 7 to 10 days. Yeah, and we also have like international peer advisors and just domestic peer advisors. So during the international orientation day, you will meet your international peer advisor, who are like who are the students at that university, and they will like they can answer your questions. They will guide you through the programs. And one of the one of my favorite memories that I've had from international orientation was our trip to Chicago, because we were all like new
Wow.
to this place. And yeah, so we had the trip to Chicago, and we were guided through like that. We spent the whole day there, and we were guided through like the main places in Chicago, and it was very nice introduction to this new place. Yeah, and
Awesome.
regarding getting from airport to campus, we had like shuttle buses, and they were scheduled. So before coming to like your university, you fill out a form that like kind of says, "Oh, I expect to come this time. This is my ticket. So I'll be at the airport like at 7 p.m., 7 a.m. or like 7 p.m., like whatever time." And the university will organize like several buses according to that. Um, yeah, so that and it was as Aram said, there were people with the signs just like waiting for you. Like for us, because our university color is purple, everybody was wearing purple, so
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, you could easily see them.
I have a question.
Nice.
So for most universities, orientation week is optional. I'm sorry, it's mandatory, right? But there are some schools which may say that it can be optional. Do you guys recommend to to participate in orientation week, or you think it's okay to miss it?
For me, the orientation week was optional, but I would recommend participating in the orientation week, because like that's where I found my first like social group kind of. Because it's like a you make bonds with
Mm-hmm.
people outside academics. Like during the normal year, you meet people in class, you usually communicate with them about class, about like homeworks and stuff like that. But during the orientation week, there's no worry about that. So you just truly get to know people as people. And because we're also international students, I think orientation is like a good s- good time to get to know this new culture, and also like to live the jet lag, right? So like when you come
Mm-hmm.
here, it's better to have like few days before the class, rest, and get the power going.
Cool. Awesome. Aram, what about you? Do you think it's important, or you can just skip that?
Um, I think it's very important. In my personal opinion, we got introduced to the university policies. I mean, we were introduced to Title IX or the other like more administrative policies. For example, before coming to the orientation, I wasn't very aware of like what is what kind of things can cause um, academic suspension, and we went through like how to avoid making any kind of um, like how to cite things properly, or how to not cite
Mm-hmm.
yourself, on how to use your papers, how to write your papers, or how to do your homework. We went to do the honor code, and um, it actually was really helpful because you got to understand how the policies work here, and you got to be more acquired with the integrity and the um, other you got this sense of the university itself. I guess other than that, it was also very um, I would never say it's mandatory, because a lot of people came in very prepared, and I could see them starting off without a orientation necessarily. However, um, later on, I guess you get to see how helpful it was, because it is more relevant throughout the academic year than it might seem at the moment. So because you might come at the first week and be like, why are we even learning about this? However, as you proceed to your academic year, you get to see the connections between what you learned in your orientation week and what happened actually.
Cool, good. So orientation week, as Islambiek said, no classes, no worries yet, right? Just learning, exploring. But now you imagine orientation week has ended and the first day of classes started. Can you guys tell us how your regular campus day looks like? How the classes go? Easy, hard. You all study in very competitive universities, which are dream choices for all of students. But do those students realize maybe how actually challenging the studies in those schools can be? Aram or Aslanbek, anyone can start.
Okay. The regular day for me is just waking up at 8 a.m., grabbing breakfast, and going to class. You can schedule your class like whatever time you want. Like the fall quarter for me, I schedule my class so that it's like later in the day. So my first class would start at 11 a.m. So I wouldn't have to wake up that early. But like later I realized that okay, it's sometimes the classes that you want to take are early in the morning, or sometimes the later in classes are already like full, so you have to take something like very early in the morning. So like it's gonna vary from like semester to semester. But basically, the most recent semester, I would wake up at 8 a.m. I had class at 9 a.m. I would go to class from 9 a.m. and then usually it was like till 2 p.m. And then you would have lunch, uh, meet up with your friends, or go straight to the library, or like whatever plan you have. It's not very fixed. In the universities, like at Northwestern, like you have tasks and you have to get them done. Like it doesn't matter when you get them done. It doesn't matter like how you get them done, but like you have to get them done on time and before the deadline, right? And yeah, so it's very flexible. And my usual day would be spent in the library, and then with my friends, because that's where we mostly hang out. And sometimes we would go to what is it called, explore new restaurants around Evanston. um, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Adam?
For me, I guess the experience was very similar as Aslanbek described. It varies a lot from day to day. Um, I would generally wake up in the morning. It's the traditional breakfast, and then you go to classes, and then there's a lot of work at the library. However, I'd like to mention that it's there's always something going on campus. There, as you get to U.S. universities that you will be attending, you get introduced to this term called FOMI, which is an abbreviation for fear of missing out.
Mhm.
Sorry, FOMO. So this is basically the anxiety the students feel for when they um, when they see how many events there are going on campus, and how much time they have to commit to these events. And most of the time is not enough so as to attend all the events. And there is this general anxiety within the student body of them being scared of missing out on a lot of stuff. However, this is a very general thing. There's nothing to be scared of, as every single student, I'm sure, goes through this, because it is not possible to attend all the events, do your all of your homework, and get enough sleep, and also socialize with people. So but however, there is a balance, and I'm sure all of you can balance how to divide these tasks. But however, don't feel scared of the idea of missing out. And I'd say, as to mention a couple of like my favorite days, For me personally, every Thursday was called formal day. We had this tradition on campus where every Thursday the students from different social clubs would go out for a more formal dinner. So everybody would be suited up. So everybody would be wearing more very formal clothes. And right after you get out of the library, you are finished with your homework. You get to spend some time with your friends on this formal setting. So, however, this formal setting is not set for like any kind of academic conversation or nothing like you don't really get to speak to behave formally. However, this is just this kind of small um, criteria for you, or like small thing you do so as to open up to the other people. And it's kind of like this tradition that really helps to connect with people. So yeah, that was like a small story from my experience this past semester. And yeah, if you have any questions.
I would like to jump in and say that like Aram is completely right. There is like a lot going on campus, and you can, and then there's also like, I don't know if it's only Northwestern thing, but there's a social media called GroupMe, and then there's like a group chat of the whole class of 2027, for example, for me, and people just text in that group chat. Like in the group chat, there's like 600 people, so people just text, "Hey, this thing is going on here. If you want to come, if you want to drop by," and it's like very, what is it called? It's they're very welcoming in terms of like if you're new there, they're just gonna say hi, come here, grab a snack, and join us. Yeah, it's, as I said, you're also gonna have like what is it called, dorm activities going on every week, and then you will have what is it called, social group. I wouldn't say social group, but like the organizations that you join on campus, like they will have their own activities going on. Like for example, if you join, I don't know, robotics club is gonna have their own activities going on every week. Yeah, so there's a lot to do on campus.
So you have options.
Yes, just be true to yourself. Just say, do I really want to go there, or am I just going there because my friends are going there, and as Aram said, I'm feeling fear of missing out. And like, don't, I would say like keep your mental health as a priority. Yeah, just enjoy life.
Okay. Tamar, what about you? So did you receive any guidelines from MIT? Maybe you already know your schedule, or like you, like they probably you started maybe hunting for the room in the dormitory. Can you share?
For us, I don't yet know what my schedule will look like, but MIT offers us to plan our schedule in August before we arrive to the university. Though this won't be crucial, and you can change the schedule. It will like make you understand how your schedule will work out, and it will be very close to what you have to be expecting. I also want to add a few details. For me, when I was choosing dormitory where I would like to live, first thing I noticed is that it's not only the buildings that is different. Usually, the lifestyle is also different, and in different dorms, it's completely different. For example, in MIT, there are some dorms where they have dining halls, and you can just at specific time go to eat, and you don't have your own kitchen. And then there are dorms where you get your own kitchen and you don't have to go to dining hall and you can cook for yourself and it can be more flexible. I am in the later one. There are also some halls which are there are also some dorms which have halls and house and some dorms that have suites. And this also like I think affects your daily life because you don't have to go to breakfast at specific time, for example, and you can have more flexibility. For me, I would like to wake up very early. I don't know if I will actually be able to do that, and maybe there is a chance that when I go to MIT, I will be very lazy to wake up at 7 a.m. or something, 6. But currently, I really want to do swimming and exercises early in the morning. And we also had the opportunity to write down what kind of roommate we want to have. And I also wrote down that I want somebody to match my schedule. And I included some details about my lifestyle. And each dorm, after you get assigned to your building, then people are going to match you with different people based on your preferences. And I think this will be very helpful if you write down more details about yourself, the better match you will get. Also, like they mentioned, fear of missing out. I have already experienced that. I'm not even there yet. Because there are already so many events and information MIT is sending, and I just can't keep up with it already. And there also we also have a program that is called Rex. And first week when you arrive there, you have opportunity to participate in this program and view every building, every floor, because every floor has different cultures and there are so many activities. And when I saw the plan, there was like different meetings each hour, and it was practically impossible to do orientation Rex at the same time. And so I already know what they mean. Other than that, I can't talk about classes because I have not been there already, but I know that I'm going to have an advisor that's going to help me with this. We had three choice to have traditional advisor. We had choice to go to seminar and have that type of advisor. I chose learning community, which is a very good way to socialize. You get to be in the same class of around 100 people, and you can work on a project, on given project. I'm in that type of learning community, and they also help you to manage your schedule and etc. For us, we will be working on environmental project, something like that, but it's also advising. It's part of the advising. Yes.
Yeah, just to sum up what you guys just said, it's a lot of things to plan ahead, right? And that's good that you have advisors supporting you, that you have alumni community, international community, that you're going to go through that together. And you guys today preparing our students that, yes, it's going to be a lot, but you can actually manage things. You won't be alone in that. Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing all the information. Let's go to fun part. Whenever you arrive to a new country, that means there is a new culture, new traditions, new things you meet. Can you share maybe about some of your favorite holidays? How did you celebrate them, or what do you expect? How does universities in the US celebrate holidays? Do they celebrate only US holidays, or maybe they celebrate other holidays as well? You did mention, all of you, that there were events related to different cultures, but what about the holidays, sharing cultures, traditions, and so on? Aram, let's go with you. Let's start.
Okay. Of course, absolutely. So my experience has pretty much been comprised of the US holidays. If we're talking specifically about holidays, we would have Thanksgiving break. So, and if you would decide to stay on campus and not to take the time to travel somewhere, there would be a formal Thanksgiving dinner for all the students who stayed. However, also as presented in my slide, as I'm gonna show very soon, there is, if you want to connect with your native community. For me personally, as someone coming from Armenia, there was a Armenian Student Association that was acting as a connection between the undergraduate student body of Armenians and the graduate student body of Armenians. So I got to meet a lot of the people on a very special day, which was which, as we call, the Victory Day in Armenia, and we got to celebrate as in traditional and more, I guess, more I'm trying to find the word, but
Familiar
I
with?
guess more. Yeah, exactly. It was more like home. It felt really like home, as you got to meet like these people who shared the same experiences and came from the same background. And it was really nice to do this in the middle of the semester, as um, you don't really. Sometimes you get really overwhelmed by the nuances and the um, new cultures that you see, you observe. I mean, it's awesome. You really get to learn a lot from other cultures. However, there's always this urge to get some traditional native food that you're um, that you're used to and you've been eating for whole your life. But and This was a great experience, as in to get some um, time to recharge and continue not adapting, rather uh, advancing in your life within the US. um, yeah, this is pretty much it.
Thank you. What was your favorite US holiday, Adam, if you have any?
Mm. um, I must say this is not a formal holiday. However, I guess this is a tradition in almost should be all in all of the US campuses. So first um, for the first football match of the university. So my university had a lot of varsity teams, and for their
Mm-hmm.
first football match, there were a lot of fun events going on within the stadium itself, and you get to spend a lot of fun time with people there. Um, and as if we're also, this reminds me of another big day in uh, that's also relevant to other universities. It's the Super Bowl, which is the um, American football final, I guess that's the way to describe it, which is a
Yes.
very big event for the US community. And I guess as an international student, you still get to experience it, and you gather with your friends, um, or with your, as Aslan Beg mentioned, maybe you might be a part of some kind of a student organization, and you join them with um, and watch the event with them. But the most important part of the event is not the event itself, I guess. I mean, at least for me, it wasn't. It was rather just the idea that everybody on that specific evening got to gather with their friends and spend some quality time.
I completely agree with Aram. Um, for me, the holidays, national
Because
holidays, I did not get to celebrate the national holidays, like, unfortunately, because I was traveling during, for example, Navruz, which is the biggest national holiday, I think. I was traveling to New York. However, in New York, I went to, like, there's a lot of, like, Tajik and Uzbek communities, right? So I went to traditional Uzbek market called Uzbekistan, and I got sumanak. I haven't had
oh,
sumanak for the past 3 years because I was in Netherlands, and in Netherlands I couldn't get it, and this time, like, I could get it, and it was very good. Also got lots of kurut there. I love kurut. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring any from Tajikistan, but yeah, as Aram said, for me as well, mostly the, like, holidays have been like American holidays, like, for example, Thanksgiving, or like, what is it called, Easter, let's say, or Christmas. Christmas has been my favorite one because I went during the winter break. I went to my American friend's house because I didn't go back to Tajikistan, and I just stayed here at his house. And his family, like, showed me, like, it was my first Christmas, and his family showed me everything about Christmas. There was lots of present giving. They played lots of board games, and it was generally like a fun, like, lazy day.
awesome. Tamar, which holiday are you very excited about and looking forward to? If there are any, of course.
I was looking forward to spending Thanksgiving in American family. and I am sure it will be a very unique experience. And at least once while I'm in USA, I will definitely spend one Thanksgiving with them. And I also want to go to uh, Times Square
Times.
in
Oh,
New Year's.
I think it's also like
Those
it's.
are my plans.
I love New York. New York is a really good city. You should go to New York.
Yes. And one of my friends is going to Columbia University, and I'm sure I'll be visiting New York. So,
Awesome, awesome. I think that's dream of everyone, right? Of many people. Okay, good. Let's go to a bit harder questions. Let's talk about finances. U.S. amazing country, right? Amazing opportunities, education, traveling, but it's also a bit expensive, probably more expensive than countries you guys come from. So, how do you manage your finances? Did you have any pocket money when you just arrived? If you like, if you have some tips to share about how you afford life in the US, maybe you have jobs on campus. Can you tell about that? It will be very, I think it's a very interesting topic to learn about. Aram, let's go again with you. You will be the first one.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. For again, my experience is very subjective, and what I'm gonna say is gonna depend from person to person. As the first of all, the financial situation is reliant on the fact whether you're coming from a higher um, social background and from a lower social background. And this is, however, um, in most of the universities in the US, you will be compensated for your studies. So you would be receiving, in case you cannot afford the education, in I'd say most of the private universities, you would be compensated for the whole tuition and the cost of attendance. So for me personally, I was receiving a full financial aid, and it also included money for personal expenses, so pocket money. And we also got a startup grant, which was a small kind of this kind of amount of money that helped us to settle down, go buy a mattress, go buy some pillows and the decorations for the dorm. Maybe this was, I guess, very helpful in order to um, understand the further in order to manage the further finances. So I guess, and for me. I already knew how much money I'm gonna have from the university itself in August, and in August I already had planned how am I gonna spend this money, and I already made these rules. For example, I don't know, not overspending on clothing or not overspending on food, um, and this really helped in trying to coordinate the finances. However, um, you also get to, as a student in the US, you're allowed to um, work on campus, and I had a library job on campus, which also helped a lot, as um, I was also receiving money outside of um, the money that I had planned I would receive. So um, it was much easier to navigate the um, financial expenses. And yeah, as I mentioned, you get money for in my experience, you get money for buying books, for buying uh, for me, they gave us money to buy some winter clothing, um, and it was all kind of planned by the university itself. But if you were able to also go over the plan and manage it better, then the outcome would be better for you yourself. But in any case, they helped you plan they helped you plan the whole kind of schedule on how to deal with your finances.
That's awesome. Thank you. What about you, Aslam?
Yeah, I would quickly say thank you, Aram. It was very informative, and you brought up really good points, which I agree with. Northwestern also had like similar opportunities. Like we also had startup grant, and we also had like winter gear program, right? Like for winter clothing, because it's like very cold in Chicago. And yeah,
In Chicago, of course.
yes. And I have like few things to say about like financial aid. First of all, it depends on your expenses, and if you're on like full financial aid, of course you're gonna get like there's gonna be some pocket money. There will be like a refund that you're gonna get like every semester. For us, it's every quarter. Yeah, and for that one especially, when you arrive to the US, have some money for like the first, let's say, 3 weeks, uh, just for yourself, to before you set up your bank account. I don't know for other universities, but for Northwestern, the refund works like this way. Like you go, you submit like a request for like pocket money for the refund online on the portal, and it goes directly to your bank account. Like you don't get
Mm.
the physical money, you get it on your bank account. And to set up a bank account, it takes some time, right? So like I would say for your first month, have your own like what's it called, let's say for me like Tajik bank account, Tajik credit card, debit card, or have like some cash, just to
Mhm.
live off the first month. And then afterwards, if you get the pocket money, it will be very easy. And the university, I'm sure it's like very supporting. Yeah, especially for FGLI, first generation lower income students. All universities, I assume, are very supportive with like giving lots of opportunities. And yeah, like as I said already, there's like startup grant, there's winter gear, there's also like student, or what's it called, organization fund. Like if you want to create your own student organization, they give you like the money to do that. There's like emergency fund if there is some medical emergency and your insurance doesn't cover everything, and you're a first generation lower income student, the emergency fund kind of covers it. Yeah, so like opportunities are unlimited. You just have to go ask them, and you just have to like research for them. And the second
Mhm.
one, the second thing that I wish somebody told me before coming to the United States is getting a job on campus does not reduce your financial aid. Like if you receive full financial aid already, getting a job on campus is going to be like additional money for you to do. Like it's not like you're going to earn 1,000 and they're going to reduce your
Mhm.
financial aid by 1,000.
Financially.
Yes, and the other thing about jobs is that start looking for them early, like right now, maybe like this summer. Just Google online, like for example, for me, I would do Northwestern University student jobs, and they like to go to the official website, look at the jobs that you like, because like the good jobs, like the library work, is like a very good job. It's like a low time consuming, and it's just like a desk job, right? So the good jobs, they get taken by upperclassmen very early. So if you want to get a job, just be ahead of that, and like during the summer before you arrive, start looking for them already. That's it.
I have a question, guys. So, if you guys both, if you had jobs on campus, do you think, if you, for instance, get it right from the beginning, won't it affect your studies, like your grades? Is it possible to combine both part-time job and your studies? Like, what do you have midterms and finals? You think it's okay?
I'd like to.
Aram, in your case, because you all are very competitive majors.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, that is very true. It sometimes you get so much work that um, you can't really spend any time elsewhere other than in the library, so as to prepare for your studies. And um, so, in my experience, I was working at the library, and I was responsible for um, checking books that were extracted from Crimea and delivered to the US for further um, uh, revision. And I was on the revision team of books, so my job included a lot of data analytics. And however, this kind of job also assumes that this job is not a urgent, or let's say it doesn't require uh, constant attendance. And I guess when you're signing up for a job, and you're getting an interview, or you're speaking, or like you're reading the description of the job, you'll always find a section called commitment. And the commitment would include information about how many hours a week you would be spending on that job. As an international student, you're allowed to work up to 20 hours a week, and if you're on a break, you can work up to 40 hours. um, but for me personally, I wasn't able to work more than 15 hours a week, because um, and in many cases I worked less than 10 hours a week, because there was just too much work. And it was totally fine with my supervisor, as I had already told them before committing to the job, that I'm not going to be spending the whole 20 hours every week. And we also had the discussion about the finals week and the midterm week, that I might not attend and be present at the job site at all. And they agreed to the conditions. And I guess that's the most important part: communication. If you're looking for a job, then you must just inform your employer that you're planning to take some time off during the final season, or you're looking for the opportunity to um, you know work less in certain weeks that you think you'd be more busy in. And I guess this is very helpful, because as you mentioned, this can affect really the grades, because a lot of my friends were swept away by the work. They saw the opportunity to work, to do something more, um, take some action, and actually a lot of people did research, and people got so swept away with the research, or like with their current job, that they completely forgot about the work they had to do for the university. And I guess it's good to think about this from now. And yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Aram. It's I also want to say that it's important to like organize your schedule. Like during the summer, one of my advice to you would be, if you don't know how to
Yeah.
use Google Calendar, like learn how to use Google Calendar, because Google Calendar is gonna like help you. It's gonna be your best friend like throughout every semester. Like the beginning of the semester, you're gonna get your class schedule and you're gonna put it down. And if you have work, you can put it down as well there, so that you know what to expect of each day and what's like the minimum commitment for each day is. I know people, some of my friends, they work one jobs on campus, and some of my friends, they work the full 20 hours on campus. They work like several jobs and it's like full 20 hours. And if you look at their Google Calendar, it's like filled, and they have to book times to meet with their friends. So but and I think neither of the things are good. Like it's I'm not saying that neither of them are bad. So like whatever works for you works for you. I didn't work the first year because I couldn't find like a good job, and I was also like the fall quarter, I was adapting to the engineering curriculum in Northwestern, and there was like a lot of things going on, right? But next like this year, the upcoming year, I'm gonna have like a job as well on campus. And jobs typically vary with their commitment. For example, what is it called, desk jobs, like library desk jobs. If you have a desk job in the library, it's a very low commitment. It's just sitting there on like on the desk, and like with your laptop you can work on your own homework as well, and just like seeing how people come and go. Like it's not a lot of like human communication, it's not a lot of like commitment. But there are also jobs which, like for example, working in the gym, that's a lot of work. Like you have to like move around, you have to do this. So yeah, that's why like look early for low commitment desk jobs.
Okay. Tamar, in your case, it's a planning phase. So how do you like imagine like your financial expenses? So maybe you already have drawn some plan for that. You have discussed it with your family. family. So what is your plan for first 2 months, or maybe the first month only?
Yes, I already have some plans. I'm sure that I want to start working from this fall, but I have not yet decided which places would better suit me. However, since MIT is a research university, around 70-80% of undergrads do research, and it is very available easily. And so I was looking for research that would hire undergrad freshmen in the fall, and there are so many choices that I can choose from. There were around 80, I think, 80, 90
Wow.
choices where I can choose from. So I think I will be applying for research opportunities, and even if it's not paid, some of are paid, some of are not. I think it will be good opportunity to advance and learn something new. It will be better if it's paid, of course, but that is not my point right now. And also, when I was looking for these researches, they all had time hours per week it would consume, and I'm looking around 10 hours a week. I think I can handle to work on research 10 hours a week. Apart from that, I thought good choices to work at was to be a floor advisor, or I don't know exactly how it's called, but I think every floor at campus have um, some positions where you can work, and they are also low commitment jobs that I thought would be a good fit for me. However, I also know that as a freshman, it will be harder to get these jobs as a lot of people want to. As Aslanbek already mentioned, a lot of sophomores and juniors will already be um, working on those positions. But I'm looking forward
Yes.
to doing Europe this fall and spring too.
Okay. But it's also like, it was a good idea just to give yourself some time, right? To adapt to new culture, new classes, new people, and with it, like to new professors, for instance, teachers. So let's move to this question. And I'm very interested to know, like, your impression about professors you work with. What could you say? Was it different from what you used to, or is it same? Can you guys share?
What was the question? Your internet was lacking.
Okay, Aram, let's go. Guys.
Okay. I see. So the I think there are different professors in every university. Like at Northwestern, there's like a lot of very helpful professors in terms of like, oh, they're gonna take time to write you a long email with like lots of information, and there are professors who just respond with like one word email. It depends on, like, of course they also have like besides teaching at the university, they do like professors mainly do research for university. So I think it's like, don't be discouraged if you have a bad professor. There's definitely more resources other than just a professor, like to help you with that, like studies. For example, there's like teacher assistants, TAs. There is also like peer advisors, kind of there's like many opportunities. Like opportunities are limitless. You just have to go ask them. And especially like what's it called, I'm sure that it's going to be the same for MIT and Harvard as well. And yeah, and some professors, like for example, I wanted to research with my what's it called, engineering analysis professor. I went and I was like, hey, I read this paper and it's like very interesting, and I want to work in that field as well. That professor was like, oh, I don't accept like freshmen, I only accept like graduate students and stuff like that. And situations like this may occur, but don't be discouraged. As I said, like there's different professors, and yeah.
Okay. Okay. Aram, what about you? Um, what was your experience of working with Harvard professors? Was it different from what
Mhm.
you were used to when you were in school?
I'm coming from a very small school, very small public school that wasn't. Um, I had all the necessary resources um, for receiving the general education as by the requirements of my country. However, I was never able to um, deepen my knowledge in the specific field that I was interested in. And at Harvard, one of my uh, course. So in my first semester, I took a lot of like different courses from different fields, so as to get a sense of how different fields are um, taught and how are they um, being from what perspective they're presented at in the university. And I was taking a class about the modern Middle East, and to the professor, even though they were teaching at Harvard, she was a professor at the University of Cairo, and she was a visiting professor from Egypt. And I got to learn a lot about her work because I had read a lot of what she does before coming to Harvard, and I guess that was something that I wasn't expecting. So even though you might think that your faculty is limited to, and the professors are limited to the amount of stuff that you might see on the website, in one of the semesters, you might come to the campus and see there's this visiting professor from this university that you're like really fond of their work. And I guess that was like one of the greater experiences I've had. Um, and I was really able to connect with the professor and had a lot of research um, on the field. And as for, and I guess it really depends from the subject that you're studying. As I guess for a lot of the, mm, for example, if I were to be in a class, in a math class, I guess the office hours and the discussions would be more centered on the homework and the material that we're learning. However, whenever the class is whenever this is a more humanities class, I would just go to the office hours, and a lot of people are afraid to go to these office hours, but I just go there and start talking about anything. These professors are there to answer any kind of questions you have. It doesn't matter whether how you think how connected the questions are to the field of the subject. It what matters is that you're there and you're curious and you want to learn more from that person. So, for example, um, last semester I was taking a class on the post-Soviet warfare in the Eurasia, and I would just go to the professor's desk on his office hours and start a conversation, being by saying, "Oh, by the way, have you seen this article um, in the Foreign Affairs Journal yesterday that was released about the region?" And the conversation would just come anywhere from anywhere. I could just talk about what was going on in campus, and then the conversation would get uh, more uh, deep. And I guess this is something a lot of students are afraid of, just like approaching the professors and starting to like the conversation with them. But there's really nothing to be afraid of. These people are people like you, and they're there to help you, and the only thing you can do is to approach them and ask for the help. um, yeah, that was my main experiences with the professors. As in regards to the courses, I had a small picture that I wanted to show you, as to show the informality and the formality of the classes. So this is a picture from
Mm-hmm.
uh, my French class, and this is actually my final exam. So, but many of you can think about, well, this picture does not really involve any kind of like the formal uh, past material or um, the formal setting that one would expect from a final exam at a university. However, this is just so for my final we had to present a play in the language of study, and I guess it a lot of the experiences that you're gonna have do not really um, fall within one certain rule of, like, going to the test room and sitting there and just writing the test and then leaving. It's not really sometimes a lot of the professors like to change the format so as to make the students more interested, and in this case we were presenting a play about Napoleon, and this was like a really fun way so as to connect the students with each other and make them learn the material for the course. And yeah, um, I guess the most important part for any courses you're looking forward to taking is to be curious and to be able to utilize any resources you have, because all the staff that are or like all the people that are teaching the course, including the teaching assistants or the teaching fellows, I guess they have different names in many universities. You just gotta be in touch with them and start like very early, reach out to them and start expressing your questions or any concerns you have regarding the class or the study of the material.
I would also
Interesting.
like to emphasize the role of asking questions. Like, I agree with Aram so much, because like it's very important to ask questions. Like, if you're just there, if you sit in the back of the class and like professors are gonna move on, and they're not gonna wait, they're not gonna like come and be like, hey, do you have any questions? You just have to raise your hand and ask questions. And like it's a very crucial thing, because like if you miss out on one thing in the beginning of the class, you're gonna miss out the whole quarter. So ask questions from the professors. Ask, like, there's gonna be lots of TAs, and you're gonna be introduced to them like the first day of that class. And like if you have a favorite TA, go ask that favorite TA. Go like after class. TAs usually have more time than professors, but go to them, like email them, hey, can I have a time with you like this week, this time? And they will definitely say yes. And yeah, like the importance of asking questions is like very big. And I also would like to mention one thing. If anybody who's watching here is coming to Northwestern, you're gonna hear the word CTEX a lot, which stands for Course and Teacher Evaluation. So, and I don't know if the same applies to MIT or Harvard. Like they can say yes or no. But Course and Teacher Evaluation is like a survey that every student submits after like every semester. And what is it called? And like the new students who want to take that class with that teacher, they can read they can read like the reviews for that teacher. And it's important to spend some time before choosing your classes with the teacher, like to read those course and teacher evaluations, to understand if this teacher kind of like is highly rated by other students, or stuff like that. Of course, it like some teachers who are like low ranked, you might really like them, but usually if the teacher is highly ranked by the other students, then it's a really good teacher, and it's like a really helpful teacher. And the other thing, don't judge that like your whole experience based on one course. Like you can have a really bad professor, really like not helpful professor, and that can make like your experience in that class like very kind of like miserable. But don't judge your whole experience. Don't say that, oh, for example, oh, I can't be a chemical engineer because I'm failing chemistry. Not that. Like your whole major, it's composed of different what is it called, courses and different factors. So like don't be discouraged if you have a bad professor. Ask more questions, try to do good, go to office hours, go ask your peers, go ask the upperclassmen. Just don't give up.
Okay, awesome. US education, opportunities, professors, holidays, it's all very exciting, right? But for people who arrived there for the first time after they're done with school, they started their independent life far from parents, for instance, it also can be overwhelming. And after 1 month or 2 months has passed, you start feeling different. You start having different feelings. feelings, right? Is maintain your mental health. Did you receive any support from university, or were you on your own, or how? Can you share your experience? Aslanbek, let's go with you.
Okay, so for mental health, I agree. Homesickness is like a very big thing, like especially like when you're like far away from home. Like I come from Tajikistan, right? And to call my parents, I either have to call like early in the morning or like late at night. So it's like it's also like that kind of communication time is also quite uncomfortable, let's say. But yeah, for homesickness, I found it very like helpful to uh, what is it called, have pictures of my family on the wall, like next to my bed. I have the pictures of my family, and that just when you wake up, you just see those pictures, and it just reminds you that like those people exist, and they're like gonna be loving you, and you're gonna be loving them till the end of your life, or I guess. Yeah, and the other thing is that if you're like kind of feeling sad about it, about like your home or like other things, I think it's very important to talk to your friends. There, like if you make a good friends, right? Let's say you give yourself the first month of in your new university, you make good friends, you make good bonds, and then after that, you can start getting into like a more deeper level with your friends, and especially talking about like hardships, it helps people to bring closer together. And it's when you tell them about some of your vulnerable like things, your when you show them your vulnerable side, they're gonna start doing it back to you. They're gonna start like showing their vulnerable side as well, because like humans need each other, like very like social animals, and we should help each other, right? So so this is the two like things that help me a lot, like finding good friends and talking to my friends about my hardships, and also like having those pictures. And the other thing is that like university, like Northwestern, for example, or other universities in the US, I'm sure they emphasize on mental health a lot. Like there's like a lot of there's a lot of organizations for mental health, and it's also like specialized. Like for example, there's organization for women's mental health, there's organization for men's mental health, there's an organization um, for example, for victims of sexual assault, for the mental health that works with that part. And it's like and then there's many more. Like there's also like cultural organizations that I think can be helpful. Like for example, you can go to, for example, Central Asian culture organization, and they're gonna support you there as well. And yeah, so in terms of opportunities, I think every school in the US, like they emphasize on mental health. So and I think it should be free in all schools. At Northwestern, you just make an appointment and you just go there. Sometimes appointments can be long, right? Like for example, like because there's a lot of students and there's like little staff. So for example, to have a conversation with your counselor, it might take like 2 weeks, for example, to make an appointment. And like you might say that, okay, I'm feeling sad right now, and like after 2 weeks, I'm not gonna be sad. Like I might feel different things, but I think it just helps to like it still helps to go to that kind of like counseling sessions. And yeah, and that also like the other thing that helped me to like get my brain sorted out is to journal. Like if I'm feeling kind of sad, right? I just sit down and I just tell myself, okay, I'm gonna write about it, and I'm gonna write about it in the structured way, so that like, okay, I'm gonna describe the problem, and I'm gonna under that I'm gonna say how can I solve the problem. And that helps to like bring because I overthink a lot, and that helps to bring like the overthinking part, like it makes you calm down and like get it out of the way.
I guess I could continue with the question.
All this
In answer to the
overcome.
question.
Yes, please.
Okay. In my experience, um, I guess Aslanberg pretty much summarized everything that's going on within the U.S. campuses. It is literally the same. We have the mental support services that are um, available 24/7, so you can call in, um, talk to someone on a phone, and if you need, you can also schedule an appointment and go see someone. And the university does prioritize your mental health, and they do really well. If we're bringing examples, my best friend, he's from Palestine, and with the recent developments in the world, he was also very stressed, and the university issued statements and provided like specific support for the people suffering from this kind of issue. And for myself, my country also was through a war last year when I was in the middle of my fall semester, and the university also, my some of my teachers reached out to me and asked about whether I need some kind of support. And I guess this is a really nice um, point to make about how much attention they actually pay um, to their students, as they really try to uh, keep the track of what is going on in the world, so as to make sure that all the students do not feel pressured, and they have all the um, time and the conditions that are perfect for studying. But on the other hand, I guess for many people, it's the releasing stress, as Aslan Beck mentioned, is not really, it's not always about talking to someone or finding some kind of support. It is through some kind of an activity. And in my case, as presented in my slide, um, I use the resources of the um, university as of the student organizations. I was a part of the Harvard Boxing Club, and boxing was something that really helped me a lot in navigating the kind of anxieties that I would have. Here's a picture featuring the coach and the students of the club, and this was kind of a community that was able to that was not as competitive, or that you wouldn't feel as pressured in as you would in any kind of other place. Um, People would come here, so this was not um, we would not compete with other schools. This was rather a more um, amateur thing. I guess people would come here to release stress, and for me personally, boxing was a great way to release stress. And I guess this can apply to a lot of other sports on campus, and basically physical exercise is also a great way if you want to be if you want to get some kind of distraction from what's going on campus and around you, and get some kind of the time so as to think and release some stress. Yeah, this pretty much sums up what I had to say.
I agree with Aram. I would just like to quickly mention that, what is it called? Sports is like a very nice way to like release your stress and like also like bring some organization part to your life, right? It's in terms of like, for example, you have trainings every day, for example, from 6 to 7, and like having organization, it helps to what is it called? To like get the stress away and like be a little bit happier. And also like the other thing, just try to enjoy little moments. For example, if it's a sunny day, call a friend, say, hey, do you want to go for a walk? I'm sure US campuses are very pretty. If it's like, okay, if it's an evening and you have a free evening, you're like, you call a friend, hey, do you want to go grab some dinner at this new place? These little moments and go take pictures, right? Like if you go there, if you take pictures, you can also print them. As I said, you can put them on the wall. Like these little moments, they're going to be reminding you that like amidst all the academics hustle, the stress going on, there's like beautiful things.
I could also add a few points. Aram Aslanbek, your points were great,
Yes,
and
sure.
I will take them into consideration too. I was also given an advice that if you have something in your rooms that you see every day, even if it's not an important, but you still had it in your room from childhood, maybe taking it with you in your dorm may be helpful to help you to familiarize with that place and to feel like you belong at that place. And maybe you will feel less like you're far away. For example, I will be bringing one or two things that I have in my room from childhood, and also I am also planning to keep journal, like Aslanbek mentioned, and I will be writing down a lot of things that can happen from day to day. Um, for me, it is very assuring that a lot of Georgians already study in MIT, and I can communicate with them, and that will I believe will help me to get over homesickness, since communicating in your language and not speaking English all the time can also be lot helpful. Time difference can also be a problem because you can't communicate to your parents all the time. But I also think that because schedule is really packed, maybe you will have less time to think about your problems and more time to focus on your work. And I think that if you like pack your schedules with a lot of activities, you will have less time to get set maybe. And also, as I mentioned, I am also trying to keep my physical health in check, and I also think mental health and physical health can be intertwined. And it's easier to work on your physical health than on your mental health. And for my physical health, I will try to do swimming regularly, and I also like ice skating, and it's a good coincidence that MIT also has ice skating rinks, and maybe it will also help me to, I don't know. Also, MIT also, as I know, have a lot of ways to help students to improve their mental health. I have heard of this instance, though I'm not sure if it happened. Um, because if you drop your grades in any subject even a little, they're going to talk to you if you have any problems, and is this grade falling because you, for example, didn't have a time, or because you're having mental issues, and that's a problem. And they're going to discuss with you, and they're going to help you to fix it. And it is not only about you to go and ask them for help. They will also be um, keeping eye on you, and if you have problems, most likely university will notice it themselves and will try to help you in some way. And if not, as Aslanbek mentioned, they have um, a lot of facilities that can help you, and you can ask for help too.
Okay.
I think that's all for
Thank you
me
very
for this
much,
session.
Guy. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. It was a very productive conversation. Brilliant, and I think we can just take notes of each of it, of everything you said, and remember that. I want to thank you once more for participating and sharing your experience with all our viewers today, and wish you guys spend your summer break, get rest, enjoy it, and be ready for next fall, for next semester. Thank you once more. Thank you everyone who've been watching us. If you've been watching us on YouTube or Facebook, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more sessions in July. Thank you. Bye-bye.